In the vast library of the battle shonen genre, one name that always comes to the top of my and many other anime fans' minds is Black Clover. Written and illustrated by Yuki Tabata, Black Clover tells the story of Asta, a young boy born without magic in a world where magic is everything. Despite this handicap, Asta, with the help of his friends, his strong heart that never gives up, and a 5-leaf clover grimoire imbued with the power of anti-magic, continues to work hard so that one day he'll become the Wizard King. Ever since starting its serialization in Weekly Shonen Jump in 2015, Black Clover has captured the attention of readers around the world. But like every manga, it had to start somewhere, and that somewhere would be its one-shot chapter. A one-shot is a one-chapter story that authors put out so that Shueisha can gauge interest and see if they can become a full series in the magazine. Many series start as one-shots before becoming full-fledged series, and Black Clover is no different. So today, I'll be talking about the one-shot that started it all and the first chapter of the series' actual serialization, and comparing them and looking at the physical magazines that they came in. Videos like this exist for Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, My Hero, Demon Slayer, and Jujutsu Kaisen, but there hasn't been one for Black Clover yet, so I decided to do just that. I didn't want to make this video until I got both the one-shot and the first chapter in the original magazine forms, and as you can see, I have both. So with all that out of the way, let's begin. So let's set the stage. Black Clover's life began after the short-lived run of author Yuki Tabata's previous series, Hungry Joker. Hungry Joker ran for 24 chapters and ended its run on May 27, 2013. In interviews, Tabata states one thing he would learn from Hungry Joker's serialization was to draw an easy-to-understand, happy-go-lucky main character with a personality similar to his. With inspiration from Berserk, Yu Yu Hakusho, and more, Tabata would develop his next one-shot to showcase in the next issue of Jump Next alongside his friends and fellow mangakas. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the Jump Next issue in closer detail. This is the June issue of Jump Next released on June 1st, 2014. Like other spin-off magazines from Shonen Jump, like Jump Giga, these issues contain a lot more than your average issue of Jump. In these issues, you'll find things like posters, spin-off chapters from series currently running in the regular magazine, and most importantly, one-shots from up-and-coming mangaka hoping to make their break into the industry. On the front cover, we have an excellent illustration of Soma and Arena from Food Wars, and on the back, we see Oga and Babybel advertising Beelzebub Bangai Hen, a 6-chapter continuation of where the original manga ended, and right next to them, we see two familiar-looking boys in a magic spellbook. Taking a look at the contents inside, the poster included in this issue is from Haikyuu, and it has both a front and a back. As much as I'd love to take it out and give it to a Haikyuu fan I know, I just can't bring myself to rip it out and potentially damage the book, so I'll just keep it in there for now. This issue also is special because Koyohara Gotoge's one-shot, Manju Shiro Kyodai, is included here as well. Short spin-off chapters of other series currently running like Haikyuu and Food Wars are also included. So here it is, in the June issue of Jump Next on page 205, we'll find the one-shot that started it all. Everyone, say hello to the origin of Black Clover. Black Clover. Black Clover is a 49-page one-shot featured in this issue of Jump Next. On the first page of the one-shot, we are greeted with a color page of our three main characters with the center boy jumping out and reaching for a magical book with a clover mark on it. The story takes place on Clover Island, an island that is said to be the home of magic and wizardry. Children on this island train their magic, and after an undetermined amount of time, they are given a grimoire that increases their magic and stores their spells, and they are allowed to leave the island and go out to the world. Mages then sign a contract with the people from the outside world and work together with them. Genius mages with high talent and affinity with magic can sign contracts with royalty, and the greatest of those magicians is called the Magic Emperor. The story follows two boys, Asta Staria, a boy who can't use magic, and Yuno Crossley, a boy who's really good at using magic, as they train to become full-fledged magicians. On the day that the children of the island will receive their grimoires, Yuno will receive a 4-leaf clover grimoire, which is said to hold incredible luck, while Asta will receive nothing. After the ceremony, Yuno would be attacked by Selene Varol, a talented student from Asta and Yuno's class who was jealous of Yuno receiving a 4-leaf clover grimoire. Asta appears to help Yuno, but without magic of his own, Asta is no match for Selene, who sends Asta crashing into a dark room. When all seems lost, and Asta is about to give up, Yuno tells Selene that even though Asta has no talent, he never gives up, and because of that, Asta isn't a loser like Selene says. He's his rival. Getting the motivation he needs, Asta begins to stand up, but at that moment, a black grimoire appears before Asta and spawns a sword from its pages. The leaves of a clover represent faith, hope, and love. In the 4th leaf dwells good luck. and in the 5th leaf resides the devil. Asta, with the combination of his new sword that steals magic and his strong body that he's trained since childhood, defeats Selene and saves Yuno. The two boys, now with grimoires in their hands, remember their promise to each other and vow to continue competing with each other for the title of Magic Emperor. Now, taking this one-shot on its own without thinking about anything that comes after it, I think it's pretty good, but with some definite room for improvement. A one-shot has to be both a good standalone story on its own, as well as being interesting enough for people to want to be invested in it if it were to continue, and I think what's here does a pretty decent job in that. This story is contained only on Clover Island, which makes you wonder what else is out there for Asta and Yuno to find once they leave. The one-shot also poses some questions that are intentionally left unanswered. Who is or was the Magic Emperor? Is there a current Magic Emperor? What was that grimoire and sword Asta got, and why does it seemingly gravitate towards him? Why does it house the devil? Questions like this will be answered when the series starts proper, but for now, it makes you wonder about where Tabata wanted to go with this concept. The artwork is also nice as well. The color page that comes with this chapter really makes the story feel like it comes from a fairy tale storybook. One of the most interesting things to me in this one-shot is how Tabata draws smiles. Smiles in this one-shot are drawn very slender, and 2 dots are placed at the end to replicate dimples. This is something I noticed Tabata likes to do in his early works like Hungry Joker. While there are some things that need to be refined, like explaining how the magic system works in more detail and how old someone has to be to receive a grimoire, this one-shot shows the strengths of Tabata as an author. Taking a step back and looking at the Jump Next issue as a whole, it's really cool to see just how many other authors Tabata has experience with contribute to it. Ryuhei Tamamura, the author of Beelzebub, has known Tabata ever since they were assistants working for Toshiaki Ishihara, the author of Siren. I was really surprised when I first heard that because I read Siren a lot in middle school. Who would have thought? Also, as a side note, Naoya Matsumoto, the author of Kaiju no 8, also worked as an assistant alongside them as well. Tabata would mention him in Kaiju no 8 in one of his author comments, and that's how I would learn of that series' existence. The writer of Food Wars, Yuto Sakuda, has also known Tabata for a long time. They led pretty close to each other, and Sakuda would even help Tabata with Hungry Joker's one-shot chapter. And even Koyoharu Gotoge, the author of Demon Slayer, is a close friend of Tabata, has also visited Tabata's home many times. Seeing the origins of Black Clover alongside other authors Tabata has known and worked well with is really cool. To me, it really paints a picture of the life of a manga artist working in this industry. You'll meet many people who you may end up being in the same magazine with. Assistants on manga learn from their mangaka and eventually publish their own works and become full-fledged mangaka themselves. It's really tough work, and it's not guaranteed that your manga will be a success, but you along with your fellow manga creators are all working toward the same goal, creating stories and characters that will stick with the readers for the rest of their lives. That is the lifeblood of Shonen Jump. Just like Osamu Akamoto, the author of Kochikame, said in his interview for the Shonen Jump 50th Anniversary exhibition, Shonen Jump requires pillars, mid-level players, and newcomers. And when he was asked what was Shonen Jump to him, he said, "It's school. It's scary, but you have seniors who are nice to you when you speak to them, and you have juniors who you can share your experience with. Eventually your seniors leave and new guys come in." As an aside, when Tabata was asked the same question in the exhibition, he said it was happy hell, something he would reference in his final author comment in the magazine before moving to Jump Giga. So after learning from his experience of writing Hungry Joker, I think it's safe to say that Tabata and Shonen Jump had found their next big hit, and it would only be a year later that it would be revealed. Then on March 2nd, 2015, in the 12th issue of Weekly Shonen Jump, the Shonen Magical Fantasy Battle Manga Black Clover was unleashed onto the world, and here's that issue. On the front cover you can see our two heroes, Asta and Yuno, posing proudly. Asta, in true shonen protagonist fashion, holds out his fist ready for a fist bump. Asta makes a similar pose in the table of contents. Behind Asta, Yuno with a stoic expression is getting ready to unleash a magic attack, but we don't know exactly what it is. I love how this cover looks. I think it does a very good job at telling you what our main characters' personalities are like without even using words. Opening the issue to the color page, we get the familiar scene of the first Wizard King battling a demon to save the world. Then turning to the next page, we see a full page spread fully introducing us to the world of Black Clover for the first time. I love the colors Tabata uses for these pages. One interesting thing that both the front cover and the color page share is the Black Clover logo. On this issue, and from what I've seen only this issue, the clover in the logo only has 3 leaves instead of the usual 5. The 5-leaf clover grimoire is revealed later in the chapter, so this was a clever way of hiding it, and once the reveal was made, all other appearances of the logo afterwards would have that 5-leaf clover. To first-time readers of the chapter, the Black Clover referred into the title would be revealed in the chapter itself. Pretty neat stuff. This issue also has one of my favorite moments in My Hero Academia, where Deku, thanks to a last-minute save from Tokiyami and Dark Shadow, managed to snag 4th place in the UA Sports Festival Cavalry Battle. Deku crying a geyser of joy after hearing his team get 4th place has always been a moment where Deku's crying felt completely justified and earned. What a great chapter. Now with the recitation of the issue and everything surrounding the issue covered, let's talk about the chapter itself. Humanity was almost destroyed by a demon, but one brave mage stood up to the beast, slayed it, and saved humanity. That mage would thereafter be named the Wizard King, and his story would be passed down into legend. Many years later, the current Wizard King and his magic knights returned to the Clover Kingdom after a mission to the cheers and applause of the citizens. Meanwhile, far away from the royal capital in a village next to the bones of the demon that attacked all those years ago, 2 young boys live out their lives. The first boy, a loud, boisterous but hardworking boy named Asta, and the other, a quiet and reserved boy named Yuno. They were both abandoned at the church on the same day, and have been together since childhood. While the two are opposites in many ways, none of their differences are more apparent than their ability to use magic, a skill everyone in this world has. Yuno is a talented wind magic user, while Asta can't use magic at all. Today is a very special day for the two of them. Once a year in March, when the Firefly and Dandelion Puffs float in the air, every 15-year-old in the country receives a grimoire that boosts their magical power and stores their spells. During their ceremony, Yuno will receive a legendary 4-leaf clover grimoire, said to have good luck in it, while Asta will receive nothing. After the ceremony, Yuno would be attacked by Revchi Slack, a former magic knight now turned into a thief and underworld grimoire seller. Asta appears to help Yuno, but is helpless to stop Revchi's chain magic. As Asta lays battered and bruised, Revchi tells Asta that he can't use magic no matter how hard he tries and he should just give up on everything. And Asta's about to do just that, but then Yuno remembers when Asta saved him from someone who was going to steal his pendant. Yuno says that Asta isn't a loser and that he's his rival. Asta, hearing this, gets up and vows to Yuno that he'll defeat Revchi. Just then, a black grimoire appears before Asta and spawns a dark, rusted sword. The leaves of a clover represent faith, hope, and love, and in the 4th leaf dwells good luck, and in the 5th leaf resides the devil. Asta, with the combination of his muscles which he's trained since childhood, and his new magic sword that has the ability of anti-magic, an energy source that erases all magic that comes into contact with it, declares that even without magic, he will become the Wizard King, because his magic is never giving up, and defeats Revchi. The two boys with grimoires in their hands remember the promise they made with each other and vow to continue competing with each other until one of them becomes the Wizard King. Okay, we've seen both the one-shot and the serialized chapter. Let's compare them. So the setting is almost completely different when comparing the two. In the one-shot, the story takes place on Clover Island, an island presumably separated from the rest of the world. Here, wizards train their magic in hopes of one day receiving a grimoire and leaving the island, stepping out into the broader world. It really reminds me of how Hunter x Hunter starts, with the series starting on Whale Island and Gon only being allowed to leave and take the Hunter's exam if he catches the Master of the Swamp. From interviews, we do know that Tabata is a huge fan of Hunter x Hunter's author, Yoshihiro Togashi, so maybe that's where the inspiration came from. Also in the one-shot, it appears that wizards are only born on Clover Island, and that only they can use magic, unlike in the final where everyone in the world of Black Clover bearing Asta can use some kind of magic. I think it was a smart decision to make Asta the only one in the world to use magic because it not only gives him struggles that he has to deal with on his own, it also gives him unique strengths that only he can take advantage of. This helps Asta in one place I think he excels at as a protagonist, standing out from everyone in his world. Asta fights differently than nearly everyone in his series, and I think that's what adds to his charm and memorability. The legend of the Wizard King and contract with kingdoms outside of Clover Island would also be changed. In the one-shot, the Wizard King is only a title given to a great mage with contract with royalty instead of being a title handed to a mage of great power, merit, and achievements like in the final version. I believe the final version handles the idea of Wizard King much better. In the one-shot, we really don't know how powerful someone has to be to become the Wizard King, but in the final, we are told the first Wizard King defeated a demon who, if not stopped, would have decimated the entire human race. This change helps the Wizard King title be much more grand and special in the reader's mind. When Asta says he wants to become the Wizard King, we know how tough that can be for even a person with strong and plentiful magic, but for someone with no magic at all saying he'll become the Wizard King, it sounds impossible. It makes it much more special to the reader when, as the series continues, Asta slowly but surely starts gathering the strength and achievements necessary to back up his statement. Clover Island also has a sort of magic school that teaches young mages magic, which doesn't appear in the full series. To be honest, when first learning about Black Clover, I thought a magic school was where most of the series was going to take place, since most shonen titles with an emphasis on competition, like action and sports series, usually take place at school. But I was surprised to find out that Black Clover never really had something like that. Once Asta and Yuno get their grimoires and pass the Magic Knight's entrance exam, they are immediately put in the workforce alongside other Magic Knights who are most of the time twice or even 3 times their age. Tabata was able to find a way to have magic users compete with each other without using the common school setting, which is actually pretty cool. It also avoids the pitfall I believe My Hero Academia has, where the academia part of My Hero Academia is the least interesting part of the series besides the UA Sports Festival in my opinion. Asta and other knights his age can be young and still learn things, but they can also have more autonomy and agency over their actions, which is hard to do in a school setting like My Hero has. It also allows a wider variety of ages of the supporting cast. When Asta first joins the Black Bulls, besides Noel, every other member in the squad is older than him and are no younger than 18, which in my opinion is a huge positive. The characters in the one-shot remain mostly unchanged when they appear in the full story, but there are still some differences that I'd like to cover. So starting with minor things, in this one-shot, Asta and Yuno have last names, which are Staria and Crossley respectively. Yuno would eventually receive a different last name in the manga, but as of the date of this video, Asta still doesn't have one. We may see Asta get a last name in this final arc, we may even see the name Staria appear again, but only time will tell. Asta's personality would remain mostly the same when the series begins its full serialization. You can't really improve on perfection after all, but Yuno will receive a minor character change and his and Asta's relationship would be expanded. We don't see much of their past, but it seems like in the one-shot, Yuno's personality was also mostly stoic even when he was a kid. This changed in the full release where Yuno was a crybaby as described by Sister Lily, but changed when Asta saved him. This addition really improves Yuno's character as now he's not just stoic for no reason. His vow with Asta made him stronger, and that shows in how confidently he carries himself. Asta's and Yuno's powers also differ quite a bit from the final product. Anti-magic doesn't appear to exist in the one-shot, and Asta's sword, which is the design of the Demon Slayer sword, actually has the Demon Dweller sword's power to absorb magic and fire it back at its opponents. We also never see Yuno use any unique spells, only that small magic energy ball that we see everyone else practice with. Finally, we have Salame, whose character would be split into 3 characters in the final series. His name and noble status will be made into the character Salame Hapshas, an examinee from the Magic Knight's entrance exam who would lose to Yuno in battle. He would later appear in an anime-exclusive episode where Yuno and the Golden Dawn will be tasked with protecting him. Slame's grimoire-stealing nature will be made into Revchi, and Slame's jealousy of Yuno receiving a 4-leaf Clover grimoire will be given to an unnamed nobleman who in the anime would attack Yuno just like Slame did in the one-shot, but both he and Yuno would fall prey to Revchi, and after Revchi would be defeated, he would resign from the Magic Knight's exam out of fear. There are tons of other small changes too, like the addition of Sister Lily, Father Orsi, the other kids at the orphanage, the Black Bull's robe being used by everyone on Clover Island and more, but from start to finish, the main idea of a world of magic where a boy who uses his strong heart, his belief in himself and his friends, never giving up, and a sword that cuts through magic to make it to the top alongside his best friend and rival, has always been there, and it's that strong concept that's given us the amazing story called Black Clover that we read and watch today. So there you have it, a look at Jump Next Issue 2 and Weekly Shonen Jump Issue 12, 2015, which contain Black Clover's one-shot and Chapter 1 respectively. It's really fascinating just how little Black Clover changed from its one-shot to its final release. It really shows just how much faith Jump had in it, and their faith wasn't misplaced. The Black Clover we know today has become a mega hit known the world over with over 18 million copies in circulation worldwide. If you want to collect the one-shot too, without being a crazy person and paying over $70 for the Jump Next issue like I did, then I highly recommend grabbing Black Clover Volume 16.5, Winmar Bookmark, the official guidebook of the series, where you can read it in its entirety starting on page 164. With Grimoire Bookmark, you not only get the one-shot, but you also get character profiles of every character up until the start of the Elf Reincarnation arc, interviews with Tabata and his editorial staff, stickers, and a reversible cover. Copies on Amazon and eBay go for less than $20, so this is a near-perfect way to own the one-shot that started it all yourself. The reason I say near-perfect is because unfortunately, the only available languages for the book are Japanese and German, but in my opinion, that's a small price to pay to own such an important part of the series' history. I'm hoping that this video will raise more awareness for this guidebook, and enough fan requests will hopefully push Viz to translate it and the one-shot, and make it a physical release. So if you want this guidebook translated, make sure to contact Viz on their socials and tell them that they have a guidebook they can translate. They translated My Heroes, Jujutsu Kaisen's, and Demon Slayer's guidebooks, so I'm sure translating one more couldn't hurt. Since the release of that guidebook, updated character profiles of certain characters have appeared in Weekly Shonen Jump issues alongside that issue's chapter of Black Clover. For example, here's Black Clover's 7th anniversary of Serialization issue, which after the chapter has updated character profiles for both Mimosa and Charmy, detailing all their new abilities since the Elf arc. One day I hope Shueisha will consider making another Black Clover guidebook when the series ends that'll have this new information, along with new special goodies and maybe even an interview with Tabata and a famous author he's looked up to, like Togashi or Kubo. The closest thing we have to do that is Black Clover Volume 23.5, which was given away to people who saw Black Clover the movie, Sword of the Wizard King, in theaters in Japan, but that book is obviously more focused on the movie than the series as a whole. I'm hoping something like what I'm wishing for happens because it'll be a nice way for series fans like myself to have a book containing the complete information on the world of Black Clover. Well, that's it for this video. Join me next time when I'll review the 2 new Black Clover chapters releasing in August Jump Giga issue. See you then.